What is the most disgusting secret you're hiding right now? When I was 8, my 19-year-old cousin tried to make out with me. I remember him rubbing my leg and kissing me in the kitchen whilst my mum was in the living room. I didn't understand what was really happening at the time, but I knew I didn't like it. I kept nervous giggling and pushing him away. After a couple of minutes he looked disappointed and walked away. I don't remember if he ever tried anything else. He was killed in an accident 3 years later, and I chose never to tell anybody as I didn't want to add to my aunt's grief. Damn, that stuck. When I was younger, I would steal coins from my parents, and when I had enough, I would bring them to my dad and had them changed to paper bills, and he would be so proud of me for saving coins that he would buy me ice cream or sweet bread. Uncle confided in me that he stopped taking the medications that are keeping him alive because he can't handle the weight of his life. Currently trying to be there for him as much as I can, but haven't told anyone because I feel like it's his choice, and I'd likely want the same in his situation. He's just worn out and feels like he's done his time and has already done what he can for the people around him. Reminds me of my uncle. We each have a rare muscle condition that will probably put us in wheelchairs later in life, and found out he's been doing meth and robbing homes to fund it. I love him so much. It hurts to see him doing something that will hurt others as well as himself. Edit. To clarify, he is not currently in a wheelchair. Well, the robbing homes might fund it, but the doing meth is going to go in the opposite direction. That there is someone on my Facebook who is lying about her dad passing of cancer whilst her eldest daughter, 8 years old, is fighting a brain tumor. It is all lies. Her dad is alive and well. Her daughter is completely healthy. One of the pictures she used as proof is her daughter lying on a hospital bed. From what I know, she was just in for observation after a small fall. She has 2 Facebook profiles. One for all her family and friends of the family, and the second one, that I'm friends with, is for old school friends, general acquaintances and anyone she dates, etc. There's so much more lies, but those 2 ones are the ones I know 100,000% to be false. Edit. This went a bit mental. I tried to confront her, this was last year, and she denied it, going as far to provide screenshot messages between her and her sister. However, the reason I knew it was bullshit was by speaking to her mum and passing on condolences. Yep, didn't go down well. Her mum accused me of being mistaken until I showed her screenshots of the posts. She didn't reply. That's when I confronted the liar by message, countering her screenshots with the ones between myself and her mum. I was swiftly blocked. As far as I know, she's still lying. She's had several miscarriages, cervical cancer, dad dying, daughter fighting cancer, and many more. I'm completely blocked from all her socials, so I can't say for certain if she's still lying. I did tell her to get help. I admittedly took it very personally as my dad had passed away not long before she lied about her dad, so it hit a nerve. She never admitted to it, never explained. Instant block, so duck you Nat alias for being an attention seeking knoband. It's called being an attention whore. There's an actual name for it, and it's a mental disorder. Munchausen syndrome by proxy. Edit. It's now called factitious disorder imposed on another. When my sister and I were little, she would lick her cat because she thought she was helping to clean him. Did you grow up in Scranton with a sister named Angela? That last year, when I was suspended from work for 6 months, it was due a failed post-accident drug test. I wasn't laid off. As a student with a shitty waitering job paying me almost nothing, I used to eat the food my customers didn't want after I took their plates to the kitchen. Been there, mate. It was like a second ducking payday if someone forgot about their to-go order. Unethical life pro tip: call in a to-go order shortly before closing, then take it home when never claimed. I used to lie, like a lot. I used to make up stories to tell people, just for the sake of it. I don't do it anymore. Although this leads me to telling the same stories over and over. Oh, this was totally me in like first grade when I was 6. Hey, do you know that there is a bee in China, which is the size of a cow and shoots its stinger like a projectile, and at one point it impaled a man straight through? It's true. Worst part is, Since it was first grade, kids actually believed my nonsense. There were at least a million complete fabrications that I told these kids, and I bet that I appear like some kind of complete lunatic in their eyes looking back. I made up a person. When I was in high school, I wanted to sound more popular, so I made up a guy friend. He had an incredibly interesting backstory. This went on 4 years. Well into college, I had the same friends, so I couldn't just end the charade. The funny thing is, all of these people, my family, my best friend, even my husband, believe that they met this man. I never introduced them to anyone, but over the years, they all have different memories of seeing him. Finally, I just sort of phased him out, saying that we grew apart and lost touch. And yet, people will randomly ask me for updates on him. I just give vague answers and watch my husband smirk from across the room. My husband is the only person who knows the truth. I'm so ashamed that I will never admit it. That lie was such a dumb thing that snowballed. This is honestly great and actually made me laugh. However, it's crazy how memories are so fluid and unreliable. My younger brother used to eat the dog food because he thought it would make him better friends with the dog. We began to leave a bowl out for him next to the dog bowl. You shouldn't have let him eat that. Now his babies will be born naked. Animals. That I hit some kid in the back of a trampoline park with a chain I grabbed off of a fence because he kept poking me. I think your respective ages could alter my reaction to this post. Not in all my 48 years have I met a more annoying 8-year with a stick. A buddy of mine had a wife that used to be a stripper. She ended up leaving him for one of her patrons. Before she left him, she was impregnated by him, my buddy. She ended up marrying the guy she left him for, and the newish dad is basically raising his kid. I'm still friends with both of them on Facebook, since I was cool with both of them, and her son definitely looks like him. This was maybe 7 to 8 years ago. I just shut the duck up about the whole situation. A friend of mine has a child with a stripper who looks nothing, and I mean nothing, like him. It's not my place to say anything. Has a really good dad and proud parent. I think that's what matters. It's not always a sure thing when it comes to looks. I have 2 kids, and while they look nothing like me, and I spend a lot of time away from my wife on business, I know she'd never cheat on me because I keep her chained to the basement wall. As a teenager, I was abroad with my class. I shared a room with 2 other girls. One morning I went to the toilet and take a dump. I was shocked as I saw that the toilet flushing was not strong enough to wash it away. I panicked, so I grabbed it with toilet paper, wrapped it around, and threw it as far as I could out of the window. Edit. Thank you. U/Takapanda15 my first award ever. May your poop never clog your toilet. One day I was walking down some street in Paris and got hit in the face with a load of shit wrapped up in toilet paper. I dropped a bun in the self-service area of a convenience store. I didn't pay for it. I just kicked it under the shelf and left. You should be put to justice, you horrible little scum. A guy whose dad worked on our farm took me way out back when I was about 7 to 8 and made me suck his prick. Probably happened about 12 years ago, only my GF knows. I'm in a lot of debt and it's potentially going to ruin my relationship. I've been there, man. I'm almost on the other side of it now. I'll be debt free by November when my first child is born. Look up a credit counseling service in your area. That's what I did. My quality of life has gone up so much, it's incredible. I dropped a human brain once in prep class and put it back like nothing happened, and everyone was wondering what kind of head trauma that person died of. In biology class we were dissecting a pig's eyeball and my hand slipped and the eyeball fell on the floor, and me being extremely lazy I kicked it under a cabinet and it lay there for 2 years until someone finally found it. I once found a chocolate bar in a trash can when I was waiting at the bus stop. I ate it. If it was still in the wrapper, no biggie. My one friend has no idea that I've known that he doesn't have kids for months. Also that I know he's been saying this and lying to everyone for attention. He tells a very convincing story. He goes into vague details. Has a photo of the girl. Says that she's been showing him fake paperwork as proof for the children. If what he says is true, would be literally extortion. Everything. Little does he know that I've been watching closely and also researching to find this woman. I know she isn't real and that he's lying and been lying this whole time for almost a year. Nothing he says makes sense and it just keeps escalating, which also doesn't make sense. I literally couldn't help myself but investigate. If everyone finds out that he's been lying this whole time, it will spread like wildfire. He doesn't have many friends and the friends he did have stopped talking to him because of his compulsive lying. I had a friend like that in college. I talked to him about it, and while he took it super hard at first, I gave him examples and he broke down. It turns out he had been so severely bullied for his whole life that he had absolutely no confidence in being able to attract and keep people in his life without those lies. It took a lot of time and work on his part and me kindly and patiently reminding him when he slipped on my part. But he changed. I gained a solid friend as a result of my being willing to stick around and work with him through it. It was a life-changing experience for both of us. Now that is something awesome, because for most people the go to move after you had caught his lies would be to cut the ties with a liar, and it wouldn't sound terrible either. But you changed someone's life by giving them second chance. Kudos. I secretly broke a 2500 euros printer. That is rare and precious. I just fixed it just enough that the second person using it got blamed for this and almost expelled from school. Maybe the person before you did the same thing to you. It's a tradition going back generations. I got nudes from my best friend's mom. Does she got it going on? Was she all you wanted that you waited so long for? I loved ketchup so much as a kid that I used to have it with cereal sometimes. When I was about 5, I used to prefer cat food to normal food. Now I can't stand the taste of cat food or human food. That I was sexually abused as a boy from the ages of 6 to 11 by a woman. I thought she was my friend, and that the things she made me do were what boys did with female friends. I told a girlfriend about it years later, and she just told me she didn't have time to deal with my shit. She's a therapist, so I thought I could confide in her. I'll never make that mistake again. Edit, an ex to a girlfriend. She became an ex that night. Sorry to hear that, bro. Glad to hear snacks. That is a horrible thing to say to somebody trying to confide in them about anything at all. You made no mistake in trying to trust someone. There are good people out there though. Never forget that. My friend's girlfriend is having serious doubts about their relationship and she's telling everyone but him. It's like she wants someone else to tell him so that she doesn't have to start the breakup conversation. It is cowardly behavior, and I would give him a heads up. I was molested and raped for like 5 years by me neighbor and went on a mission to convince myself I wanted and loved sex in a sick attempt to take back power, but just ended up letting other older men abuse me for most of my teenage life. I got addicted to drugs, and I still feel like a 10-year-old boy, and everywhere I look lately I see me as a kid. In the reflections of windows on the black screen of my phone looking out at me, and horrible nightmares, it's like my mind has finally snapped. I can't even brush my teeth in silence, because it feels like 100 voices are in my head screaming at me, and my hair has started falling out in lumps. I don't know what to do. I feel like a diseased animal, but I don't know what to do. I don't know who to tell, or how to even begin changing and becoming the man I should have been. My life is ruined, and I don't know how to stop self-destructing. I just wish it never happened, and that I could be the boy I once was, before he ever touched me and ruined me. I'm sorry this happened to you. Please sell out a trauma specialist therapist. Thank you, I'm going to try do that. This is the first time I've spoke about it ever, and I don't know how I would do it in person. Face to face, it's just I'm not good at opening up to people. Honestly, I haven't told that many people about this, so it's nice to get this chance to vent a bit. When I was around 5 meters, I got raped by my older brother's friend who was around 12 or 13 at the time. My parents didn't report it because they'd get in trouble with the police, and when I called my mom out on that bullshit, she said that she was worried about how people would view us. Currently 15. Kinda confused because I'm planning on doing something when I leave the house, but there's no evidence at this point, so it's just my word against his, and honestly, not really sure whether my parents will take my side if I do take a stand. Only my rapist's parents. My parents and my younger brother know. Edit. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention my rapist was babysitting me at the time. I have no idea how many other people he was babysitting. Edit 2. Thank you everyone for all the kind words of encouragement and advice. After a bit of thinking, I decided to report my rapist once I leave my parents' house. I was not expecting anywhere near as many people to respond to this, and I honestly was just venting my frustration about it, expecting nothing to come of it. Thank you ever so much to everyone for all the replies. I'm sorry this happened to you. You deserve better parents. Can you get assistance, therapy? Well, if I asked my parents, they'd insist that I didn't need it and that I'm exaggerating. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.